Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. QB Index, 6 free agent quarterbacks teams can't let hit the open market this offseason. We've reached conference championship week in the NFL, which means we're creeping toward the 2025 offseason. Teams will have many decisions to make across their rosters, but as we know, it starts at quarterback. This upcoming free agent quarterback class lacks brand recognition. The biggest name heading toward the market is Sam Darnold, who enjoyed a renaissance season in Minnesota and will remain in the news cycle until a decision is made regarding his immediate future. Much of the rest of this class relates to organizational security. That's right, it's time to talk backups. But before we do that, let's check in on a couple of notable starters whose spring fortunes will significantly affect the outlook of some clubs in 2025. It sounds as if the first year of the Wilson-Steelers partnership, while ending in disappointment, at least convinced Wilson he wants to return to Pittsburgh. He's 36 years old, so bringing him back isn't quite the long-term quarterbacking solution Pittsburgh has sought since the end of the Ben Roethlisberger era, but it's the best option the Steelers have at the moment. They'll need to work out the financial side of it, which shouldn't be nearly as difficult as it might have been with Wilson a few years ago. It's also not going to move the needle a ton in Pittsburgh, where fans are openly tired of watching their team reach the playoffs and promptly bow out. The future hasn't arrived in Pittsburgh yet, though, and after Mike Tomlin rode with Wilson through the end of their season even while the Steelers' offense gradually declined, logical minds would think he'd prefer to stay with Wilson instead of buying into the potential of Justin Fields again, despite the potentially higher long-term ceiling of the younger QB. We've already explored the many directions in which Darnold's career can proceed in 2025 after he posted a career season. He has the chance to earn quite a raise with a team seeking an answer at quarterback. But after winning 14 games and narrowly missing out on the NFC's top seed, the Vikings are entering uncertain territory in 2025. First-round draft pick J.J. McCarthy has never started a regular season game and is coming off a meniscus injury that ended his rookie season in August. There's no guarantee he'll step in and find success immediately. Thus, the Vikings might find themselves wishing they still had Darnold, so why not find a way to keep him with a financially competitive deal and an opportunity to fight for the job? Sure, it might create a dynamic like the Eagles once saw with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, but that drama is still worth enduring if it means avoiding a disaster scenario. Jayden Daniels is unquestionably the future in Washington, but as has often been said, the second most important player on an NFL team is the backup quarterback. Mariota proved this when the Commanders lost Daniels in their Week 7 win over Carolina, a romp in which Mariota tossed 2 touchdown passes after Daniels exited. He showed it again in the regular season finale, leading a frantic final drive that ended in a last-second, game-winning touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin. Those moments are what keep teams afloat, especially clubs that rely heavily on their quarterback. You mad, bro? Steelers fans shift ire from head coach to lack of a QB. Following the Steelers' latest failed attempt to win a playoff game, most of Pittsburgh's angst was aimed at head coach Mike Tomlin. However, this week's "You mad, bro?" appears to be focused on the franchise's lack of a quarterback. Either way, it's just as good. Whatever it takes. Vent. Get it out of your system step by step. It's going to be a long off-season. Bruce is running out of the tunnel first this week. He takes aim at some of my points of criticism about Tomlin that I expressed in last week's "You mad, bro?" The guy can get himself a real QB. The guy didn't have Mitch Trubisky forced on him. The guy didn't have to draft Kenny Pickett. The guy didn't have to acquire Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. The guy is in charge. Also, the guy had a guy at quarterback from 2007 to 21. His name was Ben Roethlisberger. In only 4 of those seasons, and since, did the guy manage any playoff wins? That's how I responded to Bruce's original post. Carlo saw my reply and thought it was a little extreme. Maybe Art Rooney too should have a cup. It might wake him up a little bit. Now you're talkin'. Carol is down in the dumps about the state of the Steelers. The depths of her depression may be affecting her judgment at this point. Another mediocre season and end-of-year swoon, and no fixes in sight. Stuck with Tomlin and his revolving door of lackey coaches until never had a losing season retires. What's an aging fan to do? Cry or make? The only suggestion I can think of that might be acceptable to our ownership and management: talk to the Eagles and see if they'd trade Tanner McKee. He has the size. You know, a Stanford-educated player has to be bright. His stats are promising. He can't be worse than this year's choices, Wilson and Fields. Actually, Carol, he could be worse. He absolutely could be worse. Russell Wilson drops 7-word message on Steelers' future. It's not 100% clear who the Pittsburgh Steelers might prefer to bring back at quarterback for the 2025 season. But Russell Wilson has made it known he wants to return. Wilson made his intentions clear again while appearing on the Pat McAfee Show on January 22. After his appearance, Wilson quote-tweeted a clip from the show with a 7-word caption. "Love my teammates. Best days are ahead," wrote Wilson. Wilson will be an unrestricted free agent in March. He was also an unrestricted free agent last offseason when the Steelers signed him to a 1-year contract. Including the playoffs, Wilson went 6-6 as Pittsburgh's starting quarterback during the 2024 campaign. In 11 regular season games, he posted a 63.7% completion percentage with 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, while averaging 7.4 yards per pass. Wilson has gained the reputation around the league for having an uber-positive attitude. That's been a bit of a blessing and a curse for the quarterback. While some have accused him of being fake, others likely see his highly complimentary nature as one of his more endearing traits. The quarterback was his fully complimentary self while addressing his Pittsburgh teammates during his appearance on the Pat McAfee Show on January 22. "When you've got playmakers around you, it always makes it fun," Wilson told McAfee. "George Pickens is such a freak athlete out there, and Pat Freiermuth, I thought, had a great year. I think the biggest star to this season, really, was just Calvin Austin. His emergence and his work ethic were tremendous. And obviously the guys up front. They do a great job of just battling every play and just giving us a chance to make plays." Similar to his personality, one could view Wilson's inclusion of Calvin Austin two different ways. Although it was nice he gave a shout-out to the lesser-known Steelers playmaker, the fact Wilson placed Austin on the same level of playmaking ability as George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth was maybe part of the issue during the season. Far too often in 2024, Wilson targeted Austin down the field for a jump ball opportunity. Austin stands at 5'9", which doesn't make him well-suited for that kind of play. Meanwhile, Pickens is one of the best bad ball catchers in the NFL. Regardless, Wilson clearly wanted McAfee's audience to know he loved all his teammates in Pittsburgh. The quarterback also reiterated that he wants to return. "Going into Pittsburgh was a special place for me. I love it," he added. "Hopefully I can play there a lot longer. It's a special place because of the guys in the locker room, the traditions, and the people and the winning. You've got all of that plus Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches of all time. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Russell Wilson? Leave your opinion in the comments.